was having a clear, so sorry.
Getting some deals.
All right, I'm going to start now. Hello, and welcome to Analytical Fanboys, the monthly media club where one of us chooses a thing and we talk about that thing. And today I have chosen a thing for these fellas to engage in, and it's the 1997 anime adaptation of Berserk, otherwise known as, I think, it has an alternate name in Japan, trying to figure out. It's like Wind Sorcery Berserk, something like that. But I'm one of your hosts, Buster. With me is, of course, the other three amazing co-hosts. Please introduce yourselves.
Howdy, I'm Boingo.
Howdy, I'm Snowcone.
Howdy, I'm Simeon.
You do realize none of that joke is going to go through because I truncate silence.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah, you should have known. But yeah, we're talking about the 97 Berserk anime. I'm very excited because Berserk's one of my favorite things, and this is the best adaptation of that thing. So,
and it's not even a complete adaptation.
Yeah, it's just the first like the first 1/3 of the story. I'd argue.
Golden Age arc.
Yeah, the first 100 chapters of the book. And even though they take out, they change and take out a lot of stuff. So there's still a lot. If you choose to read the manga after this, there's a thing. Why I chose this? I've always wanted to recommend a Berserk thing, but with Simeon now back, and also his newfound, is it a newfound love for fantasy or just a renewed or?
I mean, it was kind of kicking up when I was getting ready to leave in that last year, but it is full on okay, I know there are types of fantasy I enjoy now.
Yeah, so I wanted to recommend one of my favorite fantasy stories for at least him to indulge in. I know you guys have experience with Berserk, so it's hey, why not make you watch a Berserk thing? So yeah. That's basically simply why I chose it. It's one of my favorite things, and also I figured Simeon might get a kick out of it. But let's go through the table before. I mean, I obviously like it. What did Boingo think of this adaptation?
It was fantastic. A classic old school anime. It does a lot of interesting things, but that's more of just generally the story of Berserk. And we're going to get into that, but I'm more speaking of the anime as a animation product itself right now,
Yeah. What did Cody think of it?
Yeah, go.
Sorry. What did Cody think?
I thought we were going to let Chris go or continue. I had experienced Berserk before, as I haven't made it past where this series stops as far as the overall lore. But what I watched was a little bit different. I watched
the Golden Age trilogy movies that came out in the 2010s is what you've watched beforehand, which basically does this, but again.
Was that in the 2010s?
Yeah,
when I watched it, but
early 2010s.
I didn't think it was.
It's newer than what you think. Anyway.
Yeah, but anyways, I enjoyed it then. I think this is better.
Mm. Nice.
And there's a few different ways. Sure, we'll get into, but I think that just in general, I do like the animation more than what I'd seen before. I like how the faces come off in this a lot more. But there's just a few things about how they choose to show better in this than others. But yeah. What about you, Simeon?
Yeah, what did Simeon think?
So Berserk is one of those things that I've known about for ages and ages, probably 10 or 12 years now, and it's just always been in the mental next time pile. I'll get to it eventually. I think that's going to be good. I hear a lot of good things about it. I'll get into it one of these days. Mainly thinking about the manga, because there's never been is the modern adaptation going to be complete, or did that piss out?
That pissed out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so there's never been a complete adaptation. So I was always thinking one of these days I'll read that manga. But I am glad that I was finally pushed to get into some version of it, because there's a lot of this that informs and is informed by other fantasy things I have come to like in recent years. There's a bit of Game of Thrones in this. There's some Conan in this. There's quite a bit of Mythic Legions in this. It's just a very solid piece. However, I do want to correct something that Buster said last time. I can't remember if this was on mic or if we already ended the episode at this point. But Buster told me, like, don't worry, there's a good dub. It's an old dub. This is not a good anime dub. This is a so bad it's charming anime dub, and there is a distinct difference. I still liked it, but we need to be clear about that. Like, this is clearly like people either at the start of their career or who know how to do a very specific thing and were brought in just to do that and weren't really flexing their muscles very much, made on a very low budget. But once you get used to that, you're like, this is fun.
I mean, the entire anime is very small budget.
This OLM is the studio behind this adaptation, and
They're
they
the ones
turned
that
frame
did
sliding
Pokemon,
into a
right?
sport.
They're the studio that did Pokemon, right?
yeah, they're the Pokemon studio. Yeah, the early Pokemon stuff. I'm specifically checking their other credits just to see if there's anything.
Well, that
else.
makes sense considering Veronica Taylor turns up at one point, literally just doing the Ash Ketchum voice.
Yeah, this is like an early OLM.
There was one voice that I immediately recognized, but I'm not good at picking out voice actors' names. The one general bad guy that they kept running into that was like,
That's Dr.
this technique
Robotnik.
was...
Yeah, that's Eggman. That's Mike Pop.
Oh, fuck yeah. Hell yeah. What's up, dude?
You couldn't tell that whole. It's the
Yeah,
same
that was
exact voice.
Yeah.
Hey, did I not just say I'm not good at that skill?
True.
Right, I get not being good at the skill, but when it's like the voice of it, when it's that guy doing that voice, but just with different lines, like that's
Mike Pollock.
The only thing he doesn't do is say Sonic. I think the
Yeah.
only thing he doesn't really do is talk about.
Also, I should mention, since we're on the topic of the English voice actors, the English voice actor for Guts in this is also the 4Kids voice actor for Zoro from One Piece.
Oh, you know
I'm
what?
sure that had a very specific effect for a lot of fans of both of the characters, if not the reason why they like both characters.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still voicing Guts.
Yeah,
Looking
he
at
voiced
his,
them in the redubs of like the Berserk movies. Yeah, he did it in the Berserk movies. Yeah,
But he also just like 2 years ago did a thing called Berserk Memorial Edition.
yeah, the Memorial. Yeah, that's that's a recut of the movies.
Oh, okay.
Memorial Edition is basically just a recut of the movies to honor the passing of Kentaro Miura.
Which that's something we're probably going to have to talk about, but much later.
Yeah, much later. Where do you guys want to start with this? Because Berserk's a meaty ass boy.
I think we can just talk about, fundamentally, this is the beginning of what is specifically the Japanese style of dark fantasy.
Yeah, very much. Like Dark Souls, is very heavily influenced by Berserk, even having just direct homages with characters wielding Guts' sword. There's basically
Even,
you
can see elements of this in Onimusha.
Yeah, even Final Fantasy VII, which is a little more lighthearted than this. I don't want to say it has the big ass Buster Sword and the pretty haired antagonist. So
it's interesting to see how singularly influential a piece of work is on everything you've already watched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. That's part of the reason why I wanted to show Simeon this is because it's hey, this influenced a lot. The manga at least influenced a lot of what you like in fantasy. Even just even just because of just guys being inspired and then guys being inspired by that guys and that guys inspired by that guys. So yeah,
it really feels like he just went, what if Conan the Cimmerian, but an ongoing story and more fantastical magic.
But here's the thing, it's not fantastical magic in the way of people can sling spells. It's just more of a more direct, the eldritch things are more palpable.
Mm-hmm. And even the shit gets more crazy and fucked up.
I would just say that it's more it's just more Eastern than Western.
Yeah,
I mean, there's an Eastern story.
Fundamentally, there is a lot of Eastern idea in the idea of just specifically talking about Japan and how they view kami and demons Like, yeah, of course the demons are just gonna be there and fuck with you, because that's what they do in Japan. That's how they, like, culturally they view these beings. Meanwhile, in the Western world, it's much more theoretical and abstract how they mess with us.
Yeah.
But on your note of, like, very Conan the Barbarian, it's like, what if Conan the Barbarian, but, like, internalizing and understanding his own toxic masculinity?
Yeah.
And you can also just like see how he sort of influenced the mangaka whose name isn't coming to me at the moment.
Kentaro
Mira.
Minura?
Mira.
Okay.
Mineta?
Mira like laid the seeds for the very like modern couple dynamics that crop up in media a lot these days. The very much we fix each other type of thing. Whereas classic Conan is very much just there's occasionally wild women, but they're all very like supple and buxom, and I'm going to conquer them because I'm a big strong man.
Yeah, a lot of like the thematic and symbolic stuff on the show is about power, corruption, and in like internal and external valid. There's a lot of themes going on.
Yeah. We're not going to be able to touch on all of them because I just wanted to like give like again.
Guys, this is a podcast, not a video essay. It's okay.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
No, but I'm just more saying, like, I can go on. Toxic masculinity isn't that an idea? Internal, external validation, trauma, responses to trauma, community influencing a person, feudal politics is a major aspect. Feminism. This is a pretty this touches on feminist theory in some episodes with Casca.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's literally a moment where Casca says, "I didn't ask to be born a woman," implying like I did not want to have to deal with any of these stigmas that are thrown at me. I just am who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to say it's directly feminist because there is a level of, I wouldn't say dismissal of Casca as being a woman, but it's more of a, this world is shit and women are less prepared for some of the shit kind of tone. That's not like 100% grounded in like, yeah, fuck you, fuck women, they can't fight. But it's more of like, Jesus fuck. If anybody had to fight, women probably shouldn't the most, kind of vibe.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It's like, okay, no one should have to fight. The story is going, no one should have to fight wars like this, but even more so women shouldn't have to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of thematic stuff.
Characters? Or like, is there, characters are very a big part of like Berserk's iconography. Like, I mean, they're like, there's a reason that people like always point.
I mean,
to, like,
there's like free characters that are really interesting, and then the rest of them are just kind of filling roles. I feel like.
Yeah, but like those three characters are like archetypes, like in so much media. Like people will call like, oh, that's a Guts character, that's a Griffith character, that's a Casca character. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Okay, I have a question. If we're gonna get into Griffith, I'm not 100% sure from the text of this adaptation. Did Griffith know he was fucking everybody over, or did it surprise him just as much? And
he
then
knew.
demon shit made him go.
He knew from day one. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, there in some of the flashbacks when he gets the magic fungus, he's kind of like, oh, well, whatever.
No, he didn't know then, but once he was rescued and he found the thing again, he knew.
Yeah, he tried to even when he got rescued, he tried to like choke Guts at like one point because he's just
like immediately when he was rescued, he tried to choke Guts.
Yeah, so
he tried to do the thing he did to Casca at the end of the show to her when he was crippled.
Yeah.
That's something that only shows if you know what happens.
Okay, I didn't key into that so much because most of the time when I was watching the show, I was also taking toy photos. That's fair. So I would look over when I thought a key moment was happening.
It's a very visual.
For the entire last episode, I was pretty much glued to the screen, but not so much for the rest of it.
I mean, hey, if there's any episode to be glued to.
Oh, it's also they knew when to animate some fuck out of that last episode.
Yeah, and also speaking of like just the build up, because like I like originally Berserk, like in the manga, I'm gonna talk about manga to anime stuff. Like it starts off more fantastical of the Black Swordsman episode, or like episode 1, because like episode 1 in the manga is like a complete like 10, 15 chapter story arc with like episodic like stuff. Like here it's just one episode, and
like it's Monster of the Week for that, right?
Yeah, it's Monster of the Week, yeah. And so they just condense like just here's a single like moment to like represent the entire Black Swordsman in this adaptation. And then like in the Golden Age, they kind of like while there is fantastical moments in this, they're stripped down, they're saved for the important stuff. And then when the show becomes like it gets important stuff, like when Griffith's captured, that's when the fantastical shit like hits the fan, and then you get to the eclipse. And yeah, and like I'd argue the eclipse hits harder in this adaptation than the manga a little bit. Like not, I mean, they both hit hard, but like the build up to the eclipse, I like it in this adaptation a little more.
I imagine having access to colors really helps.
Well, and not even just no. I'm talking about the build up. Like both are portrayed really well. I'm more talking about like the build up to like, oh, shit's hitting the fan and stuff.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, I just explain it, but you get what I mean. Hopefully, basically, it's just the lack of fantastic. There's more fantastical elements in the manga, like in between these elements, but like they kind of like it because of either budget or just artistic merit. They just decide to strip it down a bit.
Honestly, I think it is an intelligent move to kind of lessen
you also get
how
rid of
much magic there is in the Golden Age arc, just because then it feels like the influx of the demons is this large crescendo of dread and violence that like fully encapsulates every theme and idea that the show's been going through.
Yeah. Like, and like, it kind of, because this is also kind of a coming of age story when you get down to it. So like, it kind of like, oh yeah, like at least the Golden Age arc. So it kind of like ends of like, you're an adult now. Welcome to hell or some shit,
Because I've not seen past this, but I know, and I feel like I have to at this point. I need to go past this because I want to see more of the story, and I kind of hate like experiencing the like I obviously I appreciate like the series. I just hate having to get to this end of this shit again.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's such a grim end, dude.
Yeah, we'll get like I want to save it for a bit, but like Cody, to answer your question, I would like wait, finish what you're saying, Cody.
I'll hold off on touching on that part as well.
Yeah, because I wanted to save the end for like just like recommendations of where to go next. Because I will warn you, the manga's also kind of not complete because the author passed away midway through. Yeah. So like to like give you like a vague, the manga and like his last chapter was a big cliffhanger too. So
I mean, but technically there is a continuation.
There is still like more chapters being released to this day, thanks to his friend and colleagues. So like the story will eventually conclude. It's still like ongoing. Like which is kind of crazy. I mean, they spent like 5 years on like a boat. Like at one point, it's like I forgot how long it was, but it was like a long time, like around.
Oh god, I forgot about that. I used to follow an anime reviewer who was a huge Berserk fan, and he made like a whole video celebrating Guts getting off the boat.
Yeah, it's only like even like as someone who like read it in like retrospect, it was still like felt like a monumentous occasion, even if I didn't experience like literal years about the boat that everyone else did. And granted, other stuff happens, like you're not just on the boat in those chapters, but that's a whole other thing. I guess like back to Griffith. Griffith. There's a reason.
I am double side-eyeing every single time I have seen the joke online. Griffith did nothing wrong. It's like the fuck you want to
God.
Yeah,
like, because it's like one of the first things he does is tell the only female under his command, "Hey, get naked and lie down next to that guy."
Yes.
See, here's the thing. That was to prevent frostbite. That's understandable to an extent. Not exactly, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's plausible deniability on the audience's part at that point.
Yeah, it's just like but the further you go, the further you really like lead into his depravity. And
The further you go, the further you realize he's Patrick Bateman.
that too, yeah, where it's like calm surface, calm at the
Everything
surface.
he does to the princess is just like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, he's one of the most like famous like I can say he's a villain. He's one of the most famous like villains in media for like a good reason.
I
And
think
it's
you
like
could easily say he's. I get.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks to the level. Like when it's like, I mean, shit. I watched. I had to experience that, not to get there again before or early. But that specific part of the series, I experienced with uh, three of my childhood friends, and it made all of them uncomfortable. I've never seen them like. I hate shit
Damn.
like that in media, but like it was just interesting to see them all react the same way, knowing
Yeah,
that
no,
like it's a bunch.
and you
Imagine a bunch of Call of Duty kids,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
and they were just like dead silent.
Yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, like you know what? I think what hurts is that like Griffith genuinely made Guts a better person at some point in his life, but
Yeah.
then when you get to that, it's like, oh, like there was a good like Guts was right to cut him off, like when he and go out on his own. Like that snow battle still gets to me, like where it's like Guts goes out, like because like there's also the thing where Griffith's very
Oh my
possessive.
God.
He's like,
Buster,
what?
this is Dom Brothers is informed by this.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Why do you think I like the duel of that so much?
Oh my God, that just hit me.
Yeah.
Like, legit, again, Urtek series, once you it is like going back and watching Star Trek and going like, oh, that's where all this stuff came from. Going back and
Yeah.
watching Star Wars, this is where all that came from.
Yeah.
Reading Lord of the Rings, oh, this is where all that came from. Oh, this is where everything
Yeah, I mean,
certain
there's
media
still
is
Griffiths
before and
being
after.
made, like, Griffiths in terms of character design and even, like,
Man
motivation.
reads the
being made to
Bible.
this
Oh
day.
my God, this is where that came from.
Yeah, you could say
You're
that,
not
yeah.
wrong, but like, that's the thing. For centuries, it was only the Bible, and now we're expanding on art so rapidly in the past 300, 200 years that certain pieces of art are becoming emblematic and core to how we tell stories going forward.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I also like appreciate like I mean talking more about Griffith and Guts' like duality. I also appreciate like despite Guts being clad like I think that like of course it's like typical like black and white like versus each other, but I do appreciate how like Guts is like the hero shrouded in the darkness where it's like he's been beaten so much while like I mean this is more future stuff, but like basically this is still the overall like representative of the series by the end. While Griffith is this like false hero cladded in light, like that shit hits, man. That's just a cool concept no matter where.
I mean, just in general, and just what we watched, they are emblematic of like two conceptualizations of masculinity.
Very much
Like
so.
I mentioned toxic masculinity, but fundamentally, you have two men who have been dealt their lot in life, who work and develop onto a certain point, and realistically, Griffith appears to be the enlightened man. He is not afraid of looking feminine, of being feminine in some ways, of all these kind of surface level ideas of androgyny and all these kind of things. But fundamentally, at the core of it, he is exhibiting all the toxic masculinity traits of violence as a first solution, anger, all these different kinds of little bits and pieces. Well, Guts represents super heavy traditional masculine visual ideals and all these muscular, protective, guardian, but through community and all this kind of stuff, eventually self-actualizes and realizes I have been floating and I don't even know who I am. Let me figure this out. Let me actually discover who I am as a person and not as a trauma response.
Yeah. And the crazy part is, like, I kind of wanted to save this for the end. All of that, what I made you guys watch, that was just the prologue to Guts' arc, I'd argue. there is
Yeah.
still like this is just the prologue to Berserk. This is just the 1/3 of the story. There is still like a lot of growth and like cool moments and just general like
Well, just knowing what I
struggles.
know of like the Black Swordsman arc, a lot of regression as well.
Yeah, like because okay, so the idea of the Black Swordsman episode 1 that you guys watch, that's kind of supposed to show like Guts at like his lowest point. Like the Black Swordsman arc is his lowest point after the ending. So you're kind of like getting a scoop of like, okay, Guts is at his lowest point. How did we get here? Golden Age, and then we go further from there. But again, they never went further from there. I just wanted to give you like again, this is the best adaptation, but it only gives you like really a taste of like even more greatness to come. You're not even at my favorite story arc yet. My favorite story arc is like right after this one, like in the manga, Lost Children, which I think is one of my favorite stories ever. But like, I'm sorry, I know I'm starting to give you like, oh, here's a taste of Berserk, and then it's like, oh, I want more. It's like, yeah,
This is your special little fungus. You're just getting all over it.
yeah. But like, I do hope like at some point y'all will continue at like, but like, yeah,
I
and this
no,
is
I
will
have.
read Buster. I'm going to tell you right now. I will read the manga one day. It will happen. I
Yeah.
did a little post show research this week because I finished it early, and I found out who Farnice is. So yeah,
she's great.
yeah.
She's great. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the 97. For a bit, I just had to go on a little tangent. I mean, this is just an excuse for me to just yap about Berserk for like however long.
Yeah. And have people who can intellectually also yap back at you the things you
Yeah.
probably have wanted to yap about.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because like boy, you're putting it like all super well. I especially really liked your analysis of like Griffith and Guts' masculinity, like how they verse each other, and that instead of just like visually. Because I feel like I'm a lot of a visual. And granted, I know some people complain about the show's like quote unquote cheap animation, but maybe it's just my love for like 90s cell. But like even like cheap animation from this era looks like really solid. It might just be
That's the thing. That's just the thing
I
about
don't think
old
that's
anime.
a word I would use there.
It's budgeted. It's
Yeah.
You can tell there's a budget and they didn't have infinite money, but it's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not. It's still a very well produced series in general. Like for the budget that he had with it, like especially the colors. Oh my god, the colors are so great. Like in this show, like they like because Berserk's a black and white manga for those who don't know for some reason, and so like the way they like colored everything for like gave everything color, like the character designs is like adapted it into like animation is just chef's kiss, and then I'm not even at one of my favorite parts of the show as like a produced like anime, the music.
Yeah,
The music.
man, there's something to be said for the days in Japanese media when they would just say like, "Hey, we need this many songs to cover all these moods. Go for it." And then the composer would just come back with some of the most atmospheric shit you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah, Susumu Hirasawa is he's the someone put it best. People put it best in these comment sections. Berserk's the best manga of a soundtrack. Because like everyone loves like these songs are just so integral to Berserk as like a like piece of media now, and especially in the current cultural consciousness. Like people can't think of Berserk without hearing like Guts' theme or Forces. And
I mean,
then
I had never checked out anything from Berserk except for Forces and Guts' theme before this.
yeah,
They are just that good. It's funny because Tell Me Why is very much the theme song for the Golden Arc, the Golden Age. But they also just gave you the theme song for like the Black Swordsman, even though they didn't animate it, because that's what Forces feels like. It feels like, all right, this is the theme song after all of this is done.
Yeah, there's even a great like mix because there's been multiple mixes of Forces called the God Hand mix, which is basically like the Eclipse theme, and like
Oh fuck,
dude.
God Hand is like there's so much Berserk in God Hand.
Oh yeah, like yeah, the game, yeah.
I mean, there's also a ton of Fist of the North Star, but like Fist of the North Star and Berserk seem to be like a 1-2 punch for.
Yeah, I mean, Miura was inspired by Fist of the North Star initially for Berserk. Like that's one of the main inspirations, along with like Rose of the Versailles. It was like something like that. Rose of Versailles, and like Fist of the North Star were like two major inspirations. Which actually, I don't think Simeon knows what Rose of Versailles is. because this is where Griffith got
Sounds
his.
French.
It's
kind
a
of
classic shoujo manga.
Oh.
And
You're right
yeah,
on the Versailles part for France.
because like this is basically where Griffith got his design and also like inspiration. And like also like the thing that I think I'm not sure if it was editor who told Mira this or like himself, but like he wanted to get like a variety of like inspirations to do. Like to make Berserk more fully rounded than just a dark fantasy, because like those early chapters can be a bit rough, like the Black Swordsman chapters, because he's still trying to figure out what the story's going to be. But by the end, it's like, oh, he's well rounded with these like inspirations and like what he wants like Berserk to be, like emotional, but like still like have like, because basically it started off as like big guy swings sword, does cool shit, but then he had to like uncover an emotional layer as he like wrote the show series. So.
But why do big guys swing sword? Why do he do shit?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But it's also interesting because again, bringing up the things that influenced it, stuff like Conan. I wonder how much Conan actually did influence. Did Mira ever talk about that?
Let me look up Kentaro Miura Conan the Barbarian to see.
Because like to me and Sim, who have like some knowledge of Conan the Barbarian, this feels so Conan.
I also know.
Well, I don't want to speak for you.
We've never really talked about it. So sidebar for a minute. Boys, how much Conan have you actually checked out?
I have only watched like a movie, like, and that was years ago.
Mostly the Marvel stuff.
The Schwarzenegger movies, a bunch of the game, and a bunch of like random comic knowledge, but not.
Okay, I have watched both the Schwarzenegger movies. I have read all the original Robert E. Howard stories. I've read some of the Marvel stuff and some of the Dynamite stuff, and I'm up to date on the current Zeb Wells run.
Zeb Wells is writing Conan,
or not Zeb Wells? Jim? Is it Jim Zub? Yeah, it's Jim Zub. Sorry.
Okay, just two Z.
I get that. Names. I get those two boys mixed up. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. But you know, yeah. Apparently, Mira has mentioned Conan both in 2002 and 2016. Apparently, like as like an influence. Like,
okay,
I'm looking at.
We aren't wrong. We aren't wrong to go like, oh, Conan.
Yeah, no, yeah. Conan is like I checked on like Reddit and like other stuff. So yeah. It's weird how Reddit's kind of like the best place to find interviews of Japanese like stuff on at least on the Western internet. That's weird. That's really weird. Anyway, so yeah, but yeah, no, you guys are right to mention Conan. I didn't even think about that until like you guys mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, that Conan and Guts do kind of like would like have visual similarities, even like because I usually associate Conan with mostly muscle than like sword, and like Guts to me is like sword. So it's like. I mean, I like big. It also just I think Conan usually has a smaller.
How could you not say muscle when it comes to Guts? That man has the ideal male body.
True. I mean, granted, also in this show, it's like we see his early days, like before he's like all muscled out. Like,
you know what? I actually genuinely love the flashback to him as a child training to explain why he uses such a big ass sword he was a child when he started learning swordsmanship and he didn't get a child-sized sword, so he always trained with larger swords and that's what he's comfortable with. Like,
it's so screwed up, but like, man, it's like that
on one level that is Kojima going, oh, she has to breathe through her skin.
Oh, you know what else, as far as like influences stuff goes? It just hit me that all those flashbacks with Guts, those feel very like Brandon Sanderson. I know you guys haven't read any of his books, but I've been getting into his books in the last year.
I know about him. I know he just
I know of him.
Yeah, I know of him. I know he just plugged Eye Patches Wolf at recent wrestling video. That's like most of what I know. I know he's also like an accomplished author. So
yeah. He's one of the most popular fantasy authors currently putting stuff out.
Yeah. I'll check. Yeah, you know, that's a name I recognize. Yeah, but like everyone is like, in some respect, I feel like even if you've never watched Berserk, you have probably been influenced, like as a fiction, in like terms of fiction, has been influenced by it, like either like a long ass game of telephone. You know, it's just like that widespread.
If it's not Berserk, it's something Berserk influenced that influence.
Yeah. Basically,
Somebody get an image of Miura and put the caption on it. His web connects them all.
I'll probably do it out of guts or some shit. But like, yeah.
I mean, and not even just like, oh, fantasy swords guy. I can see a lot of guts in what's the main guy from Yakuza?
Kiryu.
Kiryu. I can see a lot of them in Kiryu.
Yeah, like in terms of, like, especially like how he like kind of further evolved the masculine protagonist from, like, I mean, Fist of the North Star is a great story. Like I need to finish it eventually, but like I feel like Guts is like evolves from his character, like evolves that like concept of what I forgot the main guy's name, Kenshiro. Like he evolves like the basis of Kenshiro into like something like grander.
It's a self-reflective masculinity and like I wouldn't say a deconstruction, but like a dismantling of heroic ideals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like yeah.
And again, Griffith as a counterpoint to all of that of like seemingly doing heroic acts, but only for what is an ultimately kind of simple and selfish goal.
Yeah, very animalistic goal, I'd argue. Yeah. Like he seems this refined, but like he's just like preying on like the worst impulses. Like he is indulging in his worst impulses.
Because like basically it's I want power, I want control.
Uh-huh.
And then notice the immediate moment he has no power and no control over one guy, one man he has no power and control over, he fucking snaps immediately.
Yeah, he goes doing the frick shit with the princess. Like after the duel, and it's like, oh damn, like he has
I
no
can't hang out
self-esteem.
with my friend and have a good time. Time to do some raping.
Yeah,
but even then, it's not even like, oh, my friend is gone. It's, oh, this person I thought I had control over.
Yeah,
I don't. Like it calls into question everything Griffith said before.
Because he was being kind of controlling when he first met Guts, where it's like, you're mine now, like shit like that.
But here's the thing: in the moment go,
I was just gonna say, even watching this again with that context, it still felt, and I mean, maybe that's me putting that kind of energy on him, but like that's got to be intentional in it, and to some extent, if you're gonna write a character and like to go back and watch and like see the early versions of that character and still get that ick, I swear it's a little bit more than that. There's got to be a little bit more.
Yeah,
and that's even the thing. The anime didn't adapt one of Guts's backstory elements because I was just doing a little research, just because a story like this, I'm not plussed about major spoilers, and it's like, oh wait a second, they didn't adapt that part of Guts's backstory.
Yeah, Guts was assaulted as a kid, like sold, and it's real dark. Like they had to they still got away with a lot as like on the TV show, but they still had to like cut a lot out. Like I mean, they cut an entire character out. Well, granted, that was one of the worst characters in the show or in the manga. So, oh, sorry, just getting coffee.
Yeah, you're coughing. It's fine. Buster has a bit of a odd throat today, so
yeah, my bad.
Break. But like,
still recovering.
Understanding that element of Guts' character, really just like refocuses all like you immediately go, oh, this entire story is about power, it's about control, it's about autonomy, it's about like self-ownership and self-actualization.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder where all that came from, Mr. Creative Man working in the highly rigorous manga industry.
Oh. And that's not even to mention how Casca also plays into all of these themes and is reflective of both Guts.
We barely talked about Casca.
Yeah,
because there's so much to wring out of just Guts and Griffith fucking pseudo-sexual brotherhood. Because, like, there is a homoerotic tension, but as the story goes on, Guts realizes what that is with the connection they have. And he's able to like.
It is a real love triangle. It is not we are both fighting over this woman. It is we are all wanting to fuck each other at some point.
Yeah.
Would being poly saved Griffith?
No,
he was too far gone.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, if in the middle of the rise of the Band of the Hawks, not even like later on, just like during that, when would that have stemmed the tide?
I don't think
It
nah,
might have delayed things.
Yeah, it might have delayed things, but not just.
Because that was just a thing that popped in. Like, I was at like episode 5 or 6. I was just like, being Polly would fix this, man.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
joking.
still.
We
I
ain't
was
got.
making
Yeah, I
a-
know. We ain't got.
Yeah, I was being facetious. So
Yeah.
don't take it serious as a critique or like a comment on the show.
Well, damn, I was just being Kafagrugas.
The Pokemon?
Yes,
Have you
that's the
seen
joke.
Have you seen that Pokemon run in
Sword and Shield?
not
No.
Sword- no, it was Sword and Shield, but no, I think it's the Mystery Dungeon games.
Oh.
I have not seen that Pokemon run at all.
But
Anything
Casca,
else? Yeah, Casca's great. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't talked about Casca a lot.
Just as Guts is the ideal man, Casca is the ideal woman.
Yeah, she's great. It's like I tried like a lot happens after this with her, and I'm gonna like keep that under wraps and for you guys to discover yourself. But like just in the golden,
Gee, I wonder what kind of thing she could be going through after this.
it's shit. Like they don't elaborate on the show, but like the after effects.
I mean, literally, we end right as the most traumatic thing in her life happens.
Yeah, you don't even have time to like get into like the after effects.
I will say one of the few things I knew about the story going in is that there is a scene famously referred to as the rape of Casca.
Yeah, at the end, yeah, it's rough, but like it is supposed in a way it's like, oh yeah, you're supposed to like it's not, yeah, this shit sucks. It's supposed to suck, and
The point with it being it's supposed to suck is also supposed to be important to me. And the other media that I saw, it made it feel more sexualized than making it feel like this is a bad thing we're trying to show you is bad. It made it like the other version of media, the impression I got from it, and it's been a very long time since I've watched it. It made it feel more fetishy than it did. Hated that about that version. Not this.
Yeah, no. In this version, it is very shown to be a traumatic, painful experience for her. Which it's a heavy subject, but it's part of the theme. It's
also just like I'm sure there's a perfect explanation for it in the manga, but in the moment watching it fade out, I was like, how the fuck are either of them gonna make it out of this alive?
Oh, I already spelled on my that, and just the design of the thing is fucking cool.
Cool.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, great. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the big the big problem of the show. It ends like there's
the
not,
big
like,
problem is it needed a season 2, and it never got one.
Yeah, I don't like it. Just they never renewed the license or got the team back together. Which like I would have loved to see this crew handle. Like again, the next story arc after this is my favorite one. And so I would have loved to see this team handle that. But like it is what it is.
But it is like similar to how I go like, oh, this character is Guts again, and this character is Griffith again. There are so many characters that are literally just here's Casca, but not in the fucked up world.
True. Yeah.
Like
right.
I have remembered seeing interviews from like manga artists going, I loved Casca, but fucking shit she went through, so I basically made my own version of Casca so she can be happy.
Oh,
yeah. And it's like I especially like the romance with her and Guts. Like their relationship is like real good too. Like even for as tragic it ends in this adaptation. Yeah.
Again, it's a lot
for
about
like the lore. This is it forever. That sucks.
No, I mean
it continues in the manga.
Yeah, it continues in the manga. It's just, but like, I'm just saying it ends. Okay, they have to part ways. Just a little tease. They have to part ways after this for a bit, but they do get back together, like in terms of becoming like a party of characters. You'll see if you choose to read. But like, basically, this is just a big dividing point for a while because I'm just gonna say what happens. Cody, I'm gonna give you like a little elevator pitch.
Full spoilers.
Oh, no, not
right.
spoilers for something a million years old.
It's only like 20, but like, yeah. basically, after this, Casca can't speak, and it's kind of like broken. So like Guts has to go on his own, and then like later Casca catches up with Guts, and they along with some other characters, they form like a little RPG party. Which is that's kind of like where the direction's going, but like again, it's only the Golden Age, so we're kind of left off with Casca on a very bad note.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So like I just to give you that light, there's more stuff to be, and there is some great moments with like post Eclipse Casca. Yeah. So, sorry to so God, I'm sorry. Just Berserk means a lot to me. Just like shit hits
because fundamentally it continues the theme of like self-actualization.
Yeah.
Like reflecting on one's actions and power, and it continues the ideas and goes forward with them.
Yeah, and especially like reflecting on like trauma that you didn't have any control over, like that shit like hits. Like there's some great speeches by Guts later in the manga that like really like you probably see them on social media when like shit gets rough. That like they're that people post them and it's like they're good words of wisdom. So yeah, well, like they do work in the story too. Yeah. Oh man, sorry, just.
There's a lot in it. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to talk about. Because, like, on the surface, just briefly looking at it, it looks like your typical sword and sorcery, hack 'em slash 'em, big dude fighting monster kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, but there's a lot of heart, a lot of, like, emotion, and a lot of
depth.
Depth, yeah.
Legitimately, though, I did fall in love with Berserk watching this, Buster. I'm not gonna immediately jump into the manga because
you need time.
Like a lot of things on the plate, a lot of time. That's also like Sim said earlier when we were just talking about our initial thoughts on the anime, was just there was a long stretch of time where it's like I will probably like Berserk, but I am not in the mood for something like that.
Yeah, I kind of had to force it. Like, I'm sorry, I had to like come in here and be like, "We're watching Berserk now." Like, what you guys?
Legitimately, I am so tempted to one day just get all of the Dark Horse, like deluxe volumes of Berserk.
I'll put it this way: were I not in the middle of finally actually reading all of Naruto, I probably would just start Berserk at some point in the next few days.
Yeah,
I gotta finish what I started. I'm a man of my word.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. Have fun with Naruto. It's probably like a lot more digestible to like than Berserk at times. So.
Oh, Naruto is straight up slop at times. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's shonen. Yeah, yeah, shonen slop sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to share with you. I'm glad I was able to like finally like because this has been a long time coming. I'm finally able to share like one of my favorite like stories. Like even if just like a little bit and like even touch on some stuff that comes after or like before this arc of the show. Yeah.
One thing I also just want to go.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think it's a great recommendation. I just feel like I haven't added so much to it.
It's fine. Yeah, I feel like you've added especially the emotion, like the emotional aspect of like how you react to the thing. I feel like you've added a lot because like Boygo added the analysis, Simeon added like the referential, and then you added like the core emotion of like what it like the reaction of like, oh, this feels bad, but I do want to a lot of the dark reaction to like that darkness, but like still like yeah.
And I mean Guts is a character I do really appreciate. Like I don't read into it. No, that's not.
You
could just summarize it by saying I like it.
Yeah, you admire him. You admire him. Yeah, we're one of the most admirable. I'd argue he's one of the most admirable characters in just all of fiction. So, like, not for like a badass way, just for like an emotional way. Like, because like some people the people used to simplify Berserk before like they actually like, especially like early internet days is like edge fest. But like when you get down to it, there's a lot of like heart to it, and like even then, like the edgy elements usually were served to enhance the emotional. That's usually, in my opinion, the best quote-unquote edgy media does. Yeah, that was
And also, just on a last little note, I just want to mention there's a character named Gaston, and I found that funny.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for you to say something, motherfucker.
Yeah, Gaston. Oh, Chris, Boingo Rider Gast. Oh, I get it now. He's voiced by Sean Shemmel too in the dub.
Just like Chris is in real life.
Yeah, you're voiced by Goku.
Don't put that curse on me. He doesn't like the abridged guys.
Okay, fine.
Also, Corcus is the stupidest name ever for a stupid guy. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of the names are like genuine European names. Like Griffith is a Welsh name. Doing some research.
Yeah. Pippin.
Imagine being a Welsh kid reading this manga and then just bumping into somebody named Griffith at school.
Oh. Ooh. Oh God. Anyway, so are we done with the Berserk talk, or are there any final things?
What do y'all think? I don't know that I have.
I think I liked it.
I liked it, and I'm probably gonna read the manga. Like, I'll probably start reading the manga once I'm done reading Foundation.
Fair.
You've been reading Foundation?
Yeah, I am almost done with it. I'm on the last section because I'm reading the first book, which was published in Sci-Fi magazine. So it's like there's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. I'm on the 5th part.
Good for you. I've never been brave enough to get into that.
It is not as complicated as you would think.
Neat.
Talking about Asimov?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Love me some.
It's basically what if the fall of Rome, but space.
I would like to see more of his short stories from the Complete Robot.
Oh,
It has
yeah.
nothing to do with anything else.
I told you I got a copy of Bicentennial Man short story collection, didn't I?
Yes. I did see that. Well, not in person.
Yeah.
All right, it's time. Simeon, you're back. What do you have to suggest?
All right, so I did actually put quite a bit of thought into what my first pick back was going to be. And if you remember, if you can cast your mind back to the slightly less terrible times, my last pick on this show before I retired as the Vacuum Eater was a Supergirl comic. Probably the best Supergirl comic ever made. And you know, right now we're in the lead up to a big Superman movie that's set to kickstart a whole new DC cinematic universe, and DC Comics themselves is playing into that by calling this the Summer of Superman. And I figure, well, the next AF is probably going to be recorded and released a week and a half, 2 weeks before that movie comes out. So let's do a little something to tie into it ourselves, because I have two brains, a storyteller brain that says does something thematic, and a YouTuber brain that says do something that will please the algorithm. So next time on Analytical Fanboys, we are going to be discussing the very first feature-length Superman adventure. I'm speaking, of course, about Superman and the Mole Men from 1951.
What?
I was about to say, we about to watch a Christopher Reeve movie? Because we did that for No Pride.
And I am doing that for another podcast with my friend.
No, we're doing the movie that was the backdoor pilot for the George Reeves show.
All right.
Oh, so now we're not reading the OG comic. We're doing a movie.
Yeah, we're doing a movie. It is technically a movie, however, it's only 58 minutes long.
That's movie length. That's movie. I anything over 40, 50 minutes is a movie to me.
Yeah. And before anybody quibbles, there were theatrically released cartoons and Superman serials before this, but this was the first Superman feature presentation.
Yeah, and I just watched all of them for Citizen House Too Many Movies. That will be coming out in I don't know when, but eventually. Because he's also doing a Summer of Superman.
Are
stuff,
you saying you're cheating on this media cast with a different media cast?
No, I'm a guest on. I'm a recurring guest on that one.
Hey, I'm joking.
I know.
Plug their show.
I did plug the show. Citizen House Too Many Movies.
Okay, where can people find it?
At the Citizen House channel, but you can find me at the Buster Corp channel if you want to see my own stupid ass video essays and other things. I also do on this channel. I do a Tokusatsu podcast week to week with my buddy Wyatt. So yeah, check all the things out and my Bluesky.
Okay.
Are we doing the end?
Yeah, I guess we're doing
We
the
ending the
end.
dues.
Okay. Cody.
Well, my name is Cody Lee Smody, and you can find me at never_robot and Bluesky at Snow at Bluesky.
Oh yeah. Sim.
Hey everybody, I'm Simeon. I do photos and things and stuff. You can find it all by going to my link tree, which is in the video description, I assume.
Yep. And I am Boingo Writer. You can find me on YouTube at Boingo Writer, Twitch.tv/Boingo Writer, and on Bluesky at Boingo Writer. And this, Mustard or Sim? Because you two are you are the one who just suggested, and the one who is our next one. Do one of you want to plug the channel, or should I?
I don't know.
This has been
I'm not-
Modular Media. You can find our weekly you can find our weekly podcast that we do like we do this podcast every month at Uncle Fanboys, where we're gonna talk about Superman and the Mole Man next month. But every week we do modular components where we talk about just the latest whatever's going on in our brain in terms of like fixations or news. We're probably gonna talk about the Switch 2 next week because I have that pre-ordered and it's coming to my house before next podcast. So yeah. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Analytical Fanboys. Tune in next month for Superman and the Mole Man, 1951.
Mole men.
Mole
Multiple,
Man.
plural.
There's multiple.
Mole Man is a Marvel character.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
Fantastic Four is
Well,
also
he-
coming out the same
They
month.
didn't
So.
exist when that was made.
Fantastic Four is also coming out the same month.
Anyway, bye.